Good morning and congratulations for taking the first step to solving your slow money blues. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine and two-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur at your service. Today's episode is a throwback episode, but amplified. Beliefonomics 2.0. I'm super excited to be bringing you another dynamic episode. Now, here's the deal. It's March, and this is the last recording and the last show of March. And we've been talking about Money March, and hopefully you've been tuning in. Hopefully you've been doing all of the homework. If you haven't, it's okay. You can go back and listen to all the episodes where all great podcasts are heard. Now, if you have any questions today, visit slowmoneyblues.com and click on Ask or submit your question on IG, Facebook, or Twitter using hashtag SlowMoneyBlues. So what are we going to be talking about today? Great question. 3 ways to achieve permanent freedom. But before we continue, you know I always have 2 questions. And what are my 2 questions? 1, did you do your homework? Hopefully you did. So last week's episode, which was, can you spare some change? Your homework was invest the money in your change jar today. And of course, if you hadn't figured it out, you are your own change. And this is one of the favorite parts of my show. Let's say it together, our morning mantra. I state your full name, take 100% responsibility and accountability for my life and decisions. I refuse to blame others. If I do, I give away all of my power, authority, and promise given to me by God. Man, that gets me wired up, fired up, ready to go, but it also centers me every time I say it because I realize that guess what? The things I'm in control of, I'm in control of, and the things that I'm not in control of, I'm not in control of. Today's sponsors are, as always, Linky.com and BigNetDomain.com. So if you are a solopreneur, mompreneur, or a dadpreneur, or if you are a side hustler and you want a quick and effective and efficient tool to get your information out, go to Linky.com, that's LIINKY.com, and sign up for an account today. And if you use promo code Linky25, you get 25% savings on the annual plan. Now, it's 2023. In fact, it's March 2023. In fact, we only have a few days left in March, but people are still suffering from a digital dilemma. If you have a digital dilemma, go over to visit my friends at bignetdomain.com, where the net just got bigger, and go ahead and get your website, get e-commerce, get email marketing, get your security, get your SEO. They have everything. And the best part, they're right here in the good old US of A. You can call them 24 hours, 365, every day of the year, and someone is going to take your call and hook you up. By the way, when you check out today, use promo code BIGNET and you receive a 10% savings at checkout. Question for you. Is your freedom worth believing for? Now, you've probably heard that question like this. Is your freedom worth fighting for or dying for? But there is something a little bit more powerful than both of those. Is your freedom worth believing for? Investopedia states, economics is the study of how people allocate scarce resources for production, distribution, and consumption, both individually and collectively. The different types of systems are capitalism, socialism, and communism. Upon careful review, I am certain Investopedia missed something. So let's get personal. The something Investopedia forgot is Beliefonomics. Beliefonomics states this and only this. What's in your mind affects your bottom line. So question, what do you believe? Now let's go back to the top and let's talk about 3 ways to achieve permanent freedom. Now I can recall on my freedom journey, I ran into a lot of roadblocks. If I told you that many of my roadblocks were not only people, but also education, would you believe me? Well, if you think about it for a minute, we start off in pre-K or kindergarten and go all the way through the 12th grade. Many of us do anyway. For those that don't, we get this thing called a GED. And then some of us, in pursuit of more education, we go and get an associate's degree, we get a bachelor's degree, or we get a master's degree. And some of us go all the way to the tippy top and we get a PhD. And this is my question for all of those people at no matter what level you are. What have you learned from getting all of that information? Now, I don't know, but I will tell you, I actually have an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, and I was on my way to getting my master's degree, and halfway through the program, you know what? I said, this is not offering me any value, and so I left the program. Needless to say, my professor, he was like trying to say, hey, Doug, why don't you just continue? And I said, well, I don't see the value in it anymore. And I can't continue to pursue this course of action if it doesn't get me more freedom. By the way, this is what I know you did not learn. Whether you have your degree or multiple degrees in whatever discipline, you never learned this thing called freedom. Because guess what? They don't offer a course in freedom. If they offered a course in freedom, there would be less frustration in the earth and people would be walking around euphoric because they would be like, yes, I achieved this elusive thing called freedom. But what you did learn is this. One, you learned how to do someone else's curriculum. And doing that, you probably obtained a certificate, or you probably earned a degree, or you probably earned a combination of both. But what you didn't get guaranteed was your freedom. Matter of fact, I can go this far and say you probably weren't even guaranteed a job, a 3 to 7, an 8 to 4, or a 9 to 5. There were no guarantees. The only guarantee that you actually received upon getting your certificate or degree is that one, you're guaranteed you're going to pay for it, right? Whether you pay for it through financing or whether you just paid for it outright, you paid for that information. But they robbed you, they gypped you, they bamboozled you because they didn't teach you the most powerful thing that every human being must learn, and that is freedom. Now, I know that sounds like a bummer, right? But it's okay because I'm here and I'm going to teach you all about this freedom. And I'm saying 3 ways to achieve permanent freedom. So we know what you've already learned and we know that you haven't learned freedom. So we're going to teach you how to get your freedom. This is the other part. That's point number 1. Because this is about 3 ways to achieve permanent freedom. What have you learned? Point number 2, who did you learn it from? There are real freedom advisors out here. There are real freedom evangelists out here. These people are the people who you want to learn from. My freedom evangelist, my freedom advisor is my man, big brother, Myron Golden. MG, I love you to life because you put me on real game when it comes to this thing called freedom. And this is what I love about you, MG. You still doing it. You just doing it at another level. And that's awesome because this is the deal. Freedom is super addictive. And once you taste a little bit of it, you want more of it. And this is another deal. It hurts no one. In fact, the freer you come, the better it is for everybody in your life, in your inner circle and in your outer circle. So who did you learn it from? If you did not learn freedom from a freedom evangelist or a freedom advisor, you need to go and find one. But guess what? As I've said many times on this very show, I teach you how to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success system. So you looking at a real one right here. I am your freedom advisor. I am a freedom evangelist. Anything that I am sharing with you is for one purpose and one purpose only: to get you more freedom. You can take that to the bank. So, point number one, what have you learned? Point number two, who did you learn it from? And if they're not free, stop listening to them. Point number three, is it true? That is kind of broad, right? Like, what is true and what is not true? So think about this and take just a nanosecond, if you will, and think back over the course of your life and ask yourself, the things that you are doing, are they true for you? This goes back to the belief. Because if it's true for you, you have reached your ceiling. You have topped out. That's it for you. That's it. But if it's not true for you, you have to find out what is true for you. Now, this is something amazing about this thing called truth. Who is the author? In other words, who is whispering in your ears? Who is renting out space in between your ears? Are those people freedom evangelists? Are they freedom advisors? If they are not, kick them out of your mind right now and replace them with somebody like yours truly, or someone else who is also a freedom advisor and a freedom evangelist. This is what I know. I've asked this question too many times to count. Here's a real story. Hey, Kadeem, if you're watching this is just for you. Yesterday, I was literally off-site. I was at a local Publix here. They have a second floor, and I wanted to get out of my home, and I wanted to go away, and I was really working on some high strategy stuff, and so I wanted to get out and start putting this together. And when I finished doing what I was supposed to be doing, well, I turned around and I saw this young gentleman there, and I began to engage him in conversation, and I said, hey, what do you do? And he told me what he did. He was an Instacart, driver. I was like, cool. And I was like, what do you really want to do? And then he told me what he really wanted to do. And then I looked at him intently and I said, you know what? I don't think that's what you really want to do. I said, I think what you really want is freedom. He may have just thought that vehicle happened to be the thing that was going to get him freedom. But in fact, it was that vehicle would not have gotten him freedom. So I shared with him what I did. I said, well, I'm a digital entrepreneur. I said, I'm an investor and I'm a podcaster. And I said, I'll help you. So we started talking. And I said, hey, are you in the crypto space? And he shared with me, he says, a little bit, I don't really understand it. I'm like, well, I'll help you. I'll show you how to do it. And I gave my information. We exchanged information. I invited him to my Telegram group where I'm, dropping all types of information there to help a lot of people, level up and get more freedom. And he was grateful. And I was grateful too, because this is the deal. I remember I was Kadeem at one point in my life. I'm telling you, I was Kadeem at one point in my life. I thought I had literally almost made it. I was in my master's program. I was making six figures. Life seemed to be good, but I really wasn't free. And all the while I was actually doing this job, I used to have this big whiteboard in my office and I was trying to figure out, man, how to get this elusive thing called freedom. And then I met Big Brother Myron Golden. And man, that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I haven't looked back since. And I'm just continuing to be in pursuit of more freedom. So whenever I meet people, I'm always asking them, like, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? What do you really want to do? And then it's like, I can help you. Boom. It's really that simple because I am a freedom evangelist. I'm not kidding. It is the most powerful thing in the world once you secure your freedom, and no one can ever take it away from you, because when you really figure out freedom is all about belief. Now, what do you believe about the people that are outside and in the windows? No. Freedom is all about what you believe about yourself. The person that's in the mirror, the person that's on the selfie, the person that's in those videos when you're doing a video of yourself. That is If you master that, I promise you, your life will dramatically and magically change. People will still recognize you because you still physically look the same, but they won't recognize you because your speech will change. And your speech will change and your actions will change. You're like, oh my goodness. Like, for example, when you want financial advice, you will no longer listen to your broke friends. You'll go seek out a true, like, financial planner or wealth advisor. That's what you'll do. This is just how it works. And so we talked about 3 ways that you can achieve personal freedom. The first way is, what have you learned? And your learning turns into belief, which turns into actions, which turns into your limitations. Point number 2, who did you learn it from? If you're not listening to a freedom evangelist or a freedom advisor, you're doing yourself a great disservice, because you will never achieve freedom. You'll be just like the slaves that used to be on the plantations, and it used to be like 1 or 2 of them said, we're gonna get up out of here, come hell or high water, and there's nobody going to stop us. Now, even if you decide you don't want to come, we're leaving anyway. And it was the ones that said, you know what, but what we gonna do if we leave? Who's gonna take care of us? And you know what, that was a Harriet Tubman, freedom advisor, freedom evangelist. She said, I don't know what you're going to do, but I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm leaving, and I'm leaving now, with or without you. But because she loved freedom so much, guess what she did? She went back many, 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 many times to go and help liberate and free people. And then point number 3, is it true? And make it personal for you. Because once something becomes true for you, it once again becomes a limitation of your possibilities. So what are the takeaways today? Thank you for asking. What you believe determines your destiny. Man, that's powerful. What you believe, and let's make it more personal, about you determines your destiny. See, people are always going to have all types of opinions about you. But what they think about you is their business. What you think about you is your business. And hopefully you believe that you are this thing that we all are, and that is a masterpiece. What's your homework for this week? Well, this is what I want you to do. Determine your freedom number and pursue it until achieved. So let's keep it simple, because I know that, life's overhead typically works monthly. I want you to determine your monthly freedom number, whether that number is $5,000 a month or $100,000 a month or $1 million a month. I want you to pursue that. I'm going to give you a little bit of framework. If you want to earn $1 million every year, it only requires making less than 3 cents a second every day in a regular calendar year, and less than that when it's a leap year. Until next time, I want you to continue to build, launch, and grow your very own personal freedom success system. And I won't see you at the top, but I will see you over the top. Bye.